Three realms of life: meeting oneself, healing oneself, and educating oneself. Mr. Yang Jiang once said, "Although people are small and life is short, however, people can learn, cultivate themselves, and improve themselves. The value of people lies in themselves. Life is a process of rooting down and growing up. Instead of focusing your eyes on the complicated outside world, it is better to look inward from time to time. When your realm continues to improve, you will find that a person's growth is inseparable from meeting oneself, healing oneself, and educating oneself. Meeting oneself. There is a saying in Banshan collection: reading people is really not as good as reading yourself. We will meet countless people of all kinds in this life, but among these many people, the one we should meet the most is actually ourselves. The writer Hesse is a person who has been looking for himself and loyal to himself all his life. Hesse was born in a very pious missionary family in Germany. Since he was a child, his life path was planned by his parents. That is, he would inherit his father's business and continue to be a missionary. Because missionaries had a high status and good income at that time, Hesse was unwilling to define his life in a traditional way. He had a strong love for literature and only wanted to be a writer who could write. So in school, although he studied hard, he never cared about the test results. What he liked was knowledge and enriching himself. Later, he was admitted to the seminary, where the management was rigid and strict and did not care about the personality of students. Hesse realized that this was completely contrary to his dream of becoming a writer, so he dropped out of school directly. Since then, he has plunged into books, read a lot, and constantly enriched himself. In the end, he wrote the book Peter Commenzen with his rich knowledge and became a well-known writer in Germany. As Hesse said, people have only one obligation: to find themselves, stick to themselves, and move forward along their own path, no matter where it leads. In reality, many people spend their entire lives busy in the sea of fame and fortune, never understanding what they think in their hearts, and don't know where their steps will go. Little do people know that if a person wants to live a meaningful life, the most important thing he should do is to recognize his own abilities and values. Zhou Guoping also said, "Among all the responsibilities in the world, the most fundamental responsibility is to truly become yourself. Only when you find your own position can you stand out from the crowd of mediocre people and make yourself live a real and rich life. Heal yourself." I have heard of a gecko rule. When a gecko encounters danger, it usually breaks its tail on its own initiative to escape. After that, it will lie dormant, stimulate the body to secrete a hormone, promote cell regeneration, and make the tail grow again. After it recovers as before, it will continue to hunt. Adults should also have the same self-healing power as geckos, and can heal quickly after being injured, and can still be self-reliant after lying dormant. In 1872, Nietzsche published his first aesthetic work, The Birth of Tragedy, but many of the views in the book were rejected by a large number of classical writers. This group of people pointed the finger at Nietzsche and united to criticize him, causing Nietzsche's reputation and spirit to suffer great damage. Even his best friend Wagner broke off contact with him during this period. Under tremendous mental pressure, Nietzsche resigned from his position as a university professor and began a nearly 10-year wandering career. In summer, he went to the high mountains of Europe to enjoy the scenery. In winter, he returned to the warm Mediterranean region to live. These leisurely days allowed Nietzsche's negative emotions to be quietly released, and also allowed him to enter the golden age of creation. With the birth of a series of works, Beyond Good and Evil and Dawn, he returned to the peak of philosophy. In this world, no one's life can be smooth sailing. Suffering, injury, wrestling, and hitting the wall are all common things. Yuhua said, "Life is like a healing process. We get hurt, heal, get hurt again, and heal again. Although life always leaves us bruised and battered, as long as we heal ourselves well, all the pain will quickly scab over. All the suffering we have experienced will also turn into a good medicine, injecting strength into us, making our hearts tough and strong. Cultivate yourself." Writer Zhang Defen once put forward such a view. Treating yourself as a flower is the highest level of nourishment. So what does it take to grow flowers? Sunlight, rain, fertile soil, enough space, and careful care for a period of time. It will naturally bloom. The same is true for raising yourself. Piano, chess, calligraphy, painting, poetry, wine, flowers, firewood, rice, oil, salt, sauce, vinegar, and tea. The former nourishes the heart, and the latter nourishes the body. Everything is a treasure for raising yourself. Writer Lin Wenkai told a story. There was a man who grew up in a repressive and poor family, He was very sensitive and inferior when he grew up. He never dared to mention his original family in front of others, and he was always submissive to everyone. At the age of 18, he suddenly had an idea to raise himself again. So from that year on, he worked hard to work and make money to keep himself well fed and clothed. He also learned to take care of himself and keep his body very healthy. At the same time, he also realized that his childhood life had caused him great trauma, so he was not stingy with money and often went for professional psychological counseling. Gradually, he underwent a reborn change that he would no longer feel inferior because others mentioned his original family, nor would he be anxious because of a little thing. He completely raised a sunny and cheerful self. There is a saying in the road less traveled. To learn to respect and love yourself, you need to nourish yourself. If a person truly loves himself, he will insist on doing things that nourish himself and spend all his time nourishing himself. Then he will definitely grow into the way he likes, and the rest of his life will definitely be the way you want. Ishu said, "Everyone's final destination is himself. Life is a few decades away. No one can change the length of life, but we can choose to improve our way of living. In the days to come, focus on yourself, know yourself well, heal yourself, and nurture yourself. We can live this short life to its due value, and our souls will become rich and beautiful."